Hey y'all, my name is Adina Barnett Miller, but I'm known to my students as Mrs. B. I've been passionate about West Virginia history for as long as I can remember, but my mom would tell you it all started when I was 3 years old and she bought me a West Virginia counties puzzle at Gino's Pizza. I've taught history in Ripley, West Virginia for over 20 years now, and I'm an adjunct professor who teaches college West Virginia history to high school students. Please join me for West Virginia History with Mrs. B, a field trip across the mountain state to walk in the footsteps of those who came before us. Hey y'all, it is a West Virginia History with Mrs. B coming to you from my house. First time that we're doing that. We hope to occasionally give you book recommendations, and the reason I'm coming to you this way this week is because I wanted to give you some book recommendations for when you're out and about in West Virginia and you don't have cell phone service. And this is something that has happened to us more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. There's just certain parts of the state of West Virginia that you don't have cell phone service in. And let's be honest, there are certain places in West Virginia where the federal government says you can't have cell phone service. If you've been over to Green Bank, you know what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to share some books that I think are must-haves for when you're in the car and you don't have cell phone service. The first book is this one right here. All right, this is not that exciting, but it's very important if you're going out into the wilds of West Virginia. This is the West Virginia Atlas and Gazetteer. You can find this bad boy at Tamarack. You can find it at most of our state parks. You can also find it on Amazon.com. And this is essential because there are times when Google Maps or Waze will not work on your phone. We've had it happen several times. And so this is a great resource. It has, you can look up different parts of the state and you get a really detailed map, and it has all the county routes on it. So for example, if you're going to Upshur County and you're going to go out to somewhere like Elmore or out Adrian or French Creek and you want to go off the back roads, all the back roads are on this map. And so this is really, really essential. We bought this earlier this spring when we were taking a trip into Monroe County, and we're going to be taking a bunch of county routes, and we knew we weren't going to have cell phone service. And I will tell you, this kept us from getting lost. We also use this in Webster County, Pocahontas County. We've used it in Mingo County and Logan County. And so it is well worth, I think we paid $25 for it. It is well worth the expenditure. So this is the first book that you need to have with you if you are going into the wilds of West Virginia. This book is an invaluable resource. The second one I'm going to show you, you may have seen the earlier version of this bad boy, but this is the West Virginia Historical Markers book. And so this was put out by the West Virginia Department of Arts, Culture, and History, what we call the Cultural Center. And this one is the brand new version that came out in 2020. And you can buy this at the Cultural Center. I think it's $13. Yeah, $13. This book, I cannot tell you how invaluable this little book is, because you cannot find every single one of these signs online. Okay, the only place with a compendium of all of these signs is this little book right here. And so it has them listed, has the signs listed. I'm talking about the big metal signs. They tell West Virginia history as you're going around the state. It has them listed by county. And then when you flip over, you can see, like say you're in Kanawha County and you drive by the old East Bank High School. And so it gives not only the name of the sign, what the sign says, but where the sign is located. And so this is extremely helpful book. If you don't know about the historical road markers, it was a program that was started during the New Deal by the state of West Virginia for tourism purposes, and it has continued on. They have added signs, and I think there are over 1,300 today. And so this book is super, super helpful. I use it a lot because sometimes we drive by a sign and we don't stop. And so I can look the sign up in the book, and then I can tell my husband what the sign has to say. There are also all kinds of historical photographs in the book as well. So, for example, this is a picture of the Wheeling Suspension Bridge up in Wheeling. And so this book is very, very cool. It gives a little background about the historical signs, about when the program started, how many signs went out at first. I think it was like 440 they created, and it was all early history, but they continue to add on to them and continue to add on to them. And so I can tell you that not every sign is in here. Anything that's been added since 2020 isn't in here. One that we know of that's been added is down in McDowell County for Bill Withers, who is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's a famous singer, and so they added that sign after this book was published. So, but this book is awesome, okay? This is money well spent. You will use this whether you have the internet or not, because it's the only place to access all of these. There is a website that you can use. It's like wvmarkers.com. But they don't have all of the signs, okay? So, and there are counties that are totally missing that they're still working on. And again, there are a lot of places in West Virginia where you don't have the internet. So this book is invaluable, okay? I cannot stress enough. I have been driving around West Virginia with this book, or the earlier version. You might have seen it with the green front. I've been driving around West Virginia since I could drive with one of these books in my car. It is absolutely invaluable. Okay, so the third book that I would highly recommend that you get is the Historic West Virginia book. This is also put out by the Division of Culture and History, and yes, this thing is massive, but it is a super helpful book as well. You can find it at the Cultural Center. You can find old copies of it like on eBay and elsewhere. I've looked. They do not have new copies of this online like that you can buy on Amazon. But this book is awesome because it lists everything in the state that is on the National Register of Historic Places. Again, whether you have internet or not, there's no place that you can get all of this information elsewhere, okay? Like, it's only in book form. This is not available on the internet. My only suggestion, if you're trying to find something that's on the National Register of Historic Places, probably your best bet is Wikipedia has a really good list, but they don't have as much information as this book has, okay? So this book not only has all of these places listed by county and by city within the county, and they have explanations about them. They have these different maps I'm going to show you throughout the book. So here's, for example, this one is about cemeteries in West Virginia that are on the National Historic Register. So you can look there. They have them labeled on an actual West Virginia map. They have them numbered, and it talks about the history of like cemeteries in West Virginia. And if you keep flipping through this book, there are all kinds of these maps. This one's about the Civil War. There is this one on coal heritage, and it has the different places that have been preserved. This book is just awesome. I cannot stress to you enough how awesome this book is. So I'm going to show you the closest place to our house that is in this book, and that is here in our little community, the Otterbein Church, which was constructed it talks about its history. And by the way, you can see there are pictures of some of these places as well. So, but the Otterbein Church was constructed in 1896 in the late Gothic Revival style of architecture. It displays an angled front bay and entrance near the altar, which is kind of weird. And it says it's unusual for the county, and the church also exhibits fine funerary designs of the late Victorian. And it's like a movie theater. So like the back of the church is raised. It is a really, really cool place. We were actually going to have our wedding there until someone fell and broke their ankle. So it is a super cool place. And it's in this book. So you can drive around and find all of these places. Or if you're looking for specific things like ethnic heritage in West Virginia, you can look at this map and say, oh, I want to go to Helvetia. And you can look up Helvetia in the Randolph County section. So this book is super awesome and super helpful. And like I said, I would not leave home without it, especially if I'm headed somewhere where I don't have cell phone service or internet. Okay, so again, those books are Historic West Virginia, and this book has all of the places in West Virginia that are on the National Register of Historic Places. Again, this book came out, I think, 2020. So there are some updates that have been added that I know of, but this is going to get you almost everything. The second book that I recommend is this one. It's called Sign of the Times. It's West Virginia's highway historical markers, and it has everything up to 2020 in it. You can get this one at the Division of Culture and History at the Cultural Center in Charleston. You can find it on the internet as well. And then the other one that you definitely don't want to leave home without is this one, which is the West Virginia Atlas and Gazette tier. This is the most expensive of the three. But listen, if you're going anywhere in West Virginia, like, this is one of those books you don't leave home without it, because you just never know when your cell phone might not work and you might end up on a scary one-lane gravel road going into the middle of nowhere. This helps a lot. So I hope you learned a little bit. I hope I provided some information for you, and it was great talking with y'all. Thanks, y'all, for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to West Virginia History with Mrs. B on both Facebook and YouTube.